Hey, how's it going, everybody? Question for you. I mean, obviously you know towns can be built. You see the construction all around. But did you know towns can be torn down? How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Virtual History 360. I'm Mr. Wade, and today I want to talk about a town that's in the Central Florida area that you probably never heard of. Well, let me get started. You know where I live, where I teach, it's Osceola County, but there's a lot of places named for Osceola. Have you ever heard of the town of Osceola, Florida? Probably not, because really there's nothing left of it, and I'll get to that story in just a second. But you see, Osceola, Florida was, a hub, and at one point thought it was going to be one of the most prosperous, busiest towns in Florida, because you see it sat on the banks of the St. Johns River. Now, a little bit of a geography lesson. The St. Johns River actually flows north, so what they put there was a sawmill, and they would use the railroads that were springing up in the early 1900s, and they would haul in all the cypress lumber from as far away as Lake Okeechobee, and there they would process the wood. They could put it on the St. Johns, float it north, and it was a good business to be in. In fact, from this sawmill sprung up this town of Osceola. Now, this town was pretty progressive. Now, I have to mark my words on that one, because for as progressive as it was as far as technology, I mean, they had sidewalks, white picket fences, they had their own power, which that's a funny story I'll get to in a second, but it was still segregated. You had homes for white people, homes for black people, so please don't misconstrue my words. But this town was big business, big town, and it was doing very well until the sawmill decided to move further south. Advances in transportation technology, it just didn't last. And then by the time World War II came around, they sold most of the wood from the houses for just excess lumber, and in fact there's nothing much left. I'll get to that in a second. But this town, it's a pretty interesting story just to think about for a second, because it sprang up out of nowhere. I mean, it was a sawmill town. They had their own school, they had their own shops, they had their own homes, obviously. And now it's gone. Think about that for a second. If I didn't tell you about it, you would probably never hear about it. Let's back up a little bit. I told you it was on the banks of the St. Johns River. It's actually just outside the town of Geneva, Florida. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because I have a 360 video that I filmed in Geneva, Florida, on the grave of Lewis Powell's head. Now, spoiler, coming up soon, I actually refilmed that because I wasn't happy how it came out. So what I did was I went back and I refilmed another 360 video telling that story. That's going to be coming out pretty soon, but I think that one comes out much better. But really what I just want to talk about in Osceola is the fact that the town pretty much disappeared. They sold all the excess lumber and it got wiped clean and nature took over. Except for one thing. The vault. You see, inside the factory where they stored their books, their records, excess money, they had one place that was safe from robbery, safe from fire. And that's this vault right here. Now, this is still standing. It's about the size of a small house, but all that remains of a town. And wrap your heads around that. The fact that there's nothing left except for this vault. How crazy is that? How much of history have we lost and forgotten and don't talk about, don't teach about, and don't go out of our way to look for because it got wiped by nature? I mean, what about the people that lived here? As I bump my microphone. What about the people that lived here? You can interview people that moved to different towns when the town shut down, and they still talk about how they used to live in this little area and how great of a little town it was. I told you they had their own power, right? Every night at 10 p.m., they would flick the lights on and off once for a warning and then shut the power down. That was your sign to go to bed, and they didn't turn the electricity back on until the next day. At night, they had a watchman that would patrol the little town. That was their form of police. They had a nice little setup, kind of a Pleasantville, if you will. Kind of crazy to think that that's gone. And, there's still people that live in this area. It's not the town that it was. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. This vault's at the end of a road. Show you what it looks like inside. There's nothing. This is a place for kids to hang out now. Probably shouldn't, but that's what they do. But think about, where could we find other things? How much, those of you watching this, I have a decent number of subscribers now. Think about what's near you where you live. You ever see those signs on the side of the road, those historical markers? Man, what about other settlements that we're missing? Think about that. All right? Now, this video, probably not going to try this one again just because I was attempting to do a live video with this, but connection in this room is not so good. So I'm going to keep trying that, but the new sound, the new microphone, new camera, hopefully it's working for you guys. If you have questions, if you've ever been to Geneva, if you've ever been to the town of Osceola, leave a comment below. Tell me what you know. Tell me if there's other things that you want me to look up and talk about in future videos. Go ahead and hit that like button if you thought this was an interesting story, a town that's been wiped off the map. And please subscribe. We got to build those numbers. If you're seeing this video, hit subscribe because you know what? I want to keep making more, keep telling stories like this. Okay? All right. So if you have any other questions, let me know. And, check out these other videos on the side. I think it's on that side. I think I'm pointing the right way. Maybe they'll be interesting too. All right. For Virtual History 360, I'm Mr. Wade. Thank you.